Hi, I want to talk about Sinement today, and Sinement is like one of the most popular medications that we use for Parkinson's. I'm only going to talk about Sinement in this video, and I might have to break it into two videos, a part one and a part two. The reason that I'm only talking about Sinement is that it's the only Parkinson's drug that I actually have experience with. And I think I forgot to mention in earlier videos that when I was first initially diagnosed with Parkinson's, they went through a lot of screening test things to rule that out for like a couple of years, but there is no test right now for Parkinson's. But they did give me the Sinement challenge, and that's something that I forgot to mention, and that's very important. That's where they think you absolutely for sure have Parkinson's, but they need to make sure that you do. So what they do is that they give you the strongest, or rather the most effective drug that they have to fight Parkinson's, and that's the Sinement. And maybe fighting is perhaps not such a great word, because you can't take away Parkinson's, but you can mask kind of like some of the troublesome aspects of the disease. So they give you a dose of the medication and they see what happens. And I kind of had read up on that, so I was aware of that. I took my dose and I had kind of mixed feelings about it. And the kind of feelings I had were like, one, I was excited that I was actually going to find out for sure if I had Parkinson's or not. A second feeling I had was just like not wanting it to work because I didn't want Parkinson's. And the third feeling was like, I hope it doesn't kind of come back vague, like they couldn't really tell. So if you read up on the Sinement challenge, it usually says that it might take like a few days before you know or not if it's helping. So I was sort of surprised that when I took my first dose of Sinement, that it worked immediately. Like it worked within the first 10 minutes. And I guess I just was not expecting that. But immediately I felt like my face like unfroze and my movement got a lot better, like a lot better with my second and third doses. On my second and third dose, I didn't have that feeling that I was dragging my body through mud. And that was something I had every single day. Every single day was a struggle to walk. I could walk, but it would be at a very slow snail's pace, and I could not like pick up my foot that high, so it would drag, and then sometimes I would like shuffle. So that worked right away. So then I thought, because I had read this, that they weren't going to keep me on it, because what some neurologists try to do, because you're younger and this is the most effective drug, they kind of don't put you on that right away. They kind of save that, for lack of a better word, for later. So they might put you on another Parkinson's drug that wasn't as effective, or they might not even put you on a Parkinson's drug. And again, that's what I had read, so I kind of was expecting them to do that. But I ended up staying on the drug, and what I know now is that, or what I think I know, is that probably I have had Parkinson's for a good like 20 years and just kind of was able to deal with the symptoms. But now I was kind of like not able at all to deal with the things. So I think that they kept me on the Sinement because it was really already affecting everything in my life. So just to be clear, not everyone that has Parkinson's is on Sinement, and some people with Parkinson's are not on medication at all. They may not need medication right now. And thirdly, there are different medications. It's just too much to kind of discuss that in one video. And the other medicines, I'm gonna like have another video to go through them, but I'm not familiar with them because I have not taken them. This is the only medication I've taken. So there's a lot to tell you about Sinement. Some things to tell you is that it does not cure Parkinson's. It just makes the Parkinson's symptoms easier to deal with. But what most people that don't have Parkinson's, or don't know anyone with Parkinson's, what they don't understand is that it's not like a drug that you take and it goes away temporarily for a long time. It's a drug that you take like for a set time range, like 4 hours, every 4 hours, every 5 hours, every 6 hours, and you get relief for those 5 hours, but then you have to take another dose, and then you get relief. So I guess what I'm saying is it sounds like it's not continuously in your body. You have to take more pills for a set amount of time. So when you start off taking the Sinement, usually it's real spread out. I think most people start out with like 3 pills a day. I started out like that, but with the Sinement, you want to kind of stay on it for the dosage that you have for as long as possible. But if you are on Sinement, it's kind of like most people are going to take more and more pills, and that's actually, unfortunately, what I have found with the Sinement. So I started with 3 a day, and now I take 9 a day, which actually, if you don't have Parkinson's, that might sound like a lot, but actually, it's really not that much for a Parkinson's person. And remember that I don't have any other drugs that I'm taking. I don't, have any kind of non-Parkinson's medication. And I don't have any other Parkinson's medication that I'm using with the Sinement. And what happens, why they give you more medication, is that you start to get side effects. And there's certain side effects, if you're younger, that you definitely usually get. And the one side effect that kind of affects all younger Parkinson's people at some point is the dyskinesia. And what that is, it's like excessive movements. And there are lots of other side effects with the medication, with the Sinement. And I think I didn't mention the Sinement is, I believe that's just a generic name. It's commonly known in other parts of the world as the levodopa carbidopa. We just call it Sinement, I think, in the US. In the UK and other countries, it's pretty much the Sinement, but they may have different forms of it, or they might call it something different, or they might have different formulations, but I'm just referring to what they usually call it in America. And again, the one I'm mostly familiar with, which is the Sinement. So I think I was talking about the side effects. Yeah, like any medication, there's a long list of side effects. The thing that's really like strange about the Parkinson's drugs are that the side effects sometimes kind of appear Parkinson's-like. Well, actually, I'm being kind of diplomatic. They always seem Parkinson's-like. Meaning, going back to the dyskinesia, those are like excessive movements. Those are like, they're kind of different in each person. So you might see like the jerky movements, kind of like the Michael J. Fox movements. I'm not a doctor and I don't do anything with Michael J. Fox, but my guess is that there was really on the Parkinson's movements, that's the dyskinesia. That's because he's probably been on Sinement and Parkinson drugs for a long, long time, and that's the side effects. And as we know, he definitely had Parkinson's diagnosed really young, I think in his 30s. So the younger you are, and just the younger you are and the longer you've been on the Sinement and these other drugs, it causes dyskinesia, those excessive movements that most people think that's Parkinson's, but it's not. It can, I think, happen in older people, like older people meaning over 60, but it's less likely to happen. They often don't have that problem with the dyskinesia. But for us, it's kind of like a big thing. And it's hard to balance the dyskinesia, really. So I might probably have to do a whole nother video on that. So I guess that's all I'm going to talk about right now, because this video is getting kind of long. So in part 2,